It's a crazy situation which is happening in Suzuka. Welcome to race day here, but it's also qualifying day. Welcome to Super Sunday for the 2019 Japanese Grand Prix. 2 weeks ago we were in Russia. Now we are halfway across the world. It's round 17, the Japanese Grand Prix at the Suzuka International Circuit. A wonderful circuit steeped in Formula One history, and it forms as part of this year's 2019 calendar with only 5 races left. Round 17 takes part here in Japan, and then at the end of October we're in Mexico City. The 30th of October now has a new little date, not a race but an event, F1 in Hollywood. Then of course we resume on the 1st and 3rd of November with the United States Grand Prix, the Brazilian Grand Prix in mid-November on the 15th to the 17th, and then we end it all on the 29th to the 1st of December in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates. In the Drivers' Championship, Lewis Hamilton has a 74-point lead over Valtteri Bottas. Charles Leclerc in 3rd place is in a battle with Max Verstappen and his teammate Sebastian Vettel. And then the battle for 6th is shaping up. Pierre Gasly is now only 3 points ahead of Carlos Sainz, and then Alexander Albon is closing in on that battle. But the battle for 9th and 10th is close. We've got 2 drivers level. Danny Ricciardo on 34 points, the same as his teammate Nico Hülkenberg. Lando Norris in 9th, just a point ahead. Then we've got Kvyat and Perez all level in 12th and 13th and 33. Raikkonen on 30 points as well. Magnussen closing in, but we've got Norris, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Kvyat and Perez and Raikkonen in a hunt for that 9th place. Lance Stroll on 19 points and 16th. Romain Grosjean only with 8. Antonio Giovinazzi worse off and only on 4 points. Then we get Robert Kubica on 1 and George Russell on 0. Mercedes have a chance to clinch the Constructors' Championship this weekend. They are on just 14 more points than Ferrari, and they are the champions this year. The battle though still raging between Renault, Toro Rosso, Racing Point for the battle for 5th in the championship, as McLaren are now 40 points clear. Hello everybody, welcome up to the commentary box, and first of all, yes, we have just had qualifying and it was absolutely fantastic. We now have a grid for the race later on, which is coming up soon. We're filming this just after qualifying is finished. Literally, I've just finished the session and I picked up a mic and started talking to you lovely people watching. First of all, if you are watching this live, thank you so much for getting up and watching. You really are the die-hard Formula One fans. It means a lot. So thank you for getting up this early to watch a sport that we all love. So let's first of all take a look at the Suzuka circuit on board with the Red Bull Honda, considering it's the Japanese Grand Prix. Let's take a look round the Suzuka International Racing Course, 5.807 kilometres, 53 laps ahead of us on Sunday, and a lap record of a 131.54 road. Start the clock down towards turn 1. Heavy braking zone, just flick the car in, mid-corner, hit the brakes down 5th gear as you turn into the 2nd apex of turn 2. Rising up, turn 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, it's the S curves. The car has to be in perfect balance, otherwise you will lose a lot of your sector time and a lot of lap time. Pole position won and lost here in the past. Up the hill towards the Dunlop curve, and we've seen many tragedies over the years as you head down in towards the Degner corners. Degner 1, 5th gear, drop down 2 gears into Degner 2, underneath the circuit with the figure of 8, and up now towards turn 11, the Spoon curve. Flick the car in, very late apex, down 2nd gear, and accelerate now. Now it begins to smooth out. It now follows the traditional Japanese letter for 11 as you ripe up towards turn 12. Brake hard, 6th gear, turn 13, brake down 2 more gears into 4th, down into turn 14, and pass now the national pit straight used for the Rally Championship, approaching one of the fastest corners on the track. 8th gear, flat out, quick kink, the 130R. Flick the car in, hope you make it, and then you're into the Casio triangle. Heavy on the brakes, down the way, all the way from 8th gear to 2nd gear. 3-part corner to complete the lap in the Red Bull Honda, easy to the line. And the Suzuka International Racing Course, built in the 60s, first Grand Prix in 1987, and it's going to be an interesting weekend where Mercedes could clinch their 6th World Championship for the Constructors. Right, let's get into the qualifying report then, and because it's only just happened, it's going to be a little bit different to what we're usually used to. We'll start off that it all got underway very quickly. The track test was only completed 15 minutes before the start of qualifying. That's how mad it was. The risk of rain was 0, but the wind was high for qualifying. That's just been completed. And the session got underway. 2 minutes later, it was red flagged. Robert Kubica, coming out of the Casio triangle, lost control of the car. I'm just looking at it on the monitor, actually. Lost control of the car. He touched the grass, and it spun him round, and it didn't help the fact that there was a crosswind from the 130R all the way to the first corner. So just got it. Knocked off the rear wing, knocked off the front wing, damaged the left-hand side of the car. It red flagged the session for about 5 minutes while they recovered it. Williams now got a lot of work to do, whether that car can actually be ready at all to take the formation up, or will he be starting from the pit lane? I think he'll be starting from the pit lane. But Robert Kubica stopping on the circuit. The session was restarted at 10 past the hour. And then a total of 4 minutes later, another red flag came out. Kevin Magnussen stopped on the track at turn 18. He too got caught out, a bit like Valtteri Bottas did on Friday in practice 2. He got caught out by that crosswind, just came out of the last corner, spun the car into the wall, and there was nothing he could do. But luckily he was able to reverse the car and get it back to the pit lane. So the red flag was only out for a few minutes. The session restarted at 10:21. Lewis Hamilton was the first car to take the checkered flag in Q1, to which all the sessions were a bit lackluster, really, because in Q1 we lost Danny Ricciardo 129.822, Sergio Perez a 130.344, George Russell on a 133.64. Magnussen and Kubica obviously not taking part. They started at the back of the grid. On to Q2 then. And it was a little bit more interesting as well, as nothing happened. Everyone just went out there, a little bit more traffic caught up as well. Everyone went out the pit lane for their last run with about 2 minutes to go. Everybody went out. Massive traffic problems. And Paul di Resta not happy in the commentary box as well that happened. But yeah, so it really was quite bizarre. But the first car to take the flag was Kimi Raikkonen. And in that session we lost Giovinazzi, Stroll, Raikkonen, Kvyat and Hülkenberg. No major issues in that part of qualifying. But then it came to Q3, the 12-minute session, the top 10 shootout for pole position, and it was absolutely fantastic. Lando Norris the first to take the checkered flag in that one, but a stellar opening run from the German of Sebastian Vettel. He set the fastest time first off. And an interesting stat as well is that whenever we've had to do qualifying on a Sunday, when it's been delayed on a Saturday, it's been a German on pole. Michael Schumacher, Vettel, Rosberg. Now, again, it's Sebastian Vettel. A stellar lap from him. He did a 1:27.064. Another new track record from him. An absolutely fantastic time. He outqualified Leclerc by 0.2 of a second. Bottas and Hamilton third and fourth. The first time in the hybrid era that Mercedes have been knocked off the front row of the grid. Then it's Verstappen and Albon on row 3 with exactly the same time, a 1:27.851. So Red Bull know that both their cars are identical times. A fantastic run for them. Then we get 2x2x2 seems, because there's the fourth team to have a 2x2. McLaren on row 4, 2x2. Sainz and Norris 7th and 8th. And then a little bit of disorder on row 5. Gasly and Grosjean rounding out the top 10. It was an interesting qualifying, but a second pole of the year and a 57th career pole for Sebastian Vettel. And for the first time in the hybrid era, it is not a Mercedes 1-2 on the grid here in Japan. No, it's a 1-2 for Ferrari. Not bad, their 5th pole in a row. Let's take a look then at the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix. So row 1 sees a Ferrari lockout with Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc. Row 2 a Mercedes lockout, Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton. Row 3 a Red Bull lockout, Max Verstappen and Alexander Albon with exactly the same time, a 1:27.851. Verstappen got there first, so he keeps it. And row 4 is a McLaren lockout for Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris. Row 5 is Pierre Gasly and Romain Grosjean. Row 6, Antonio Giovinazzi and Lance Stroll. Row 7, Kimi Raikkonen and Danny Kvyat. Row 8, Nico Hülkenberg and Danny Ricciardo, a bad day for Renault. Row 9, Sergio Perez and George Russell. And row 10 is Kevin Magnussen and Robert Kubica, with Kubica looking to possibly start from the pit lane. Well, absolute chaos has happened here today on Super Sunday. We're going throughout the night, which is why I've still got the headset on, because Sky Sports F1 are live right now with the pre-race build-up as well, and Channel 4 will be on with the highlights of qualifying and the race at 2:20 p.m. UK time. We'll be back, though, on Wednesday with the Grand Review podcast 8 o'clock. Me and Dad will be in the commentary box as well. Yeah, for the first time this year, Dad's coming into the commentary box, because usually he uses this mic in a race control centre and watches all of the data channels, but not this time. No, we're going to be in the box together, so that's going to be fun. We haven't actually shared the commentary box in a Grand Prix this season, because we shift him off to race control to do that. So it's going to be fun. You can hear all the commentary with him, but it's always a bit different. We're not actually in the same room to the commentary from the races you hear. So yeah, first time, you know what it's going to sound like. It's going to sound exactly the same as what we used to do like in Russia. It's going to be fun that we're going to be in the same room together in the commentary box. It's very cold in here. We've got a heater on as well, and my notes are here. I'm all ready. My notes have actually got a bit of moisture on them because they're in folders. So yeah, not good. But it's going to be a classic one. The Japanese Grand Prix here at Suzuka is going to be a classic because Mercedes are going to clinch the Constructors' title. They only need 14 more points than Ferrari. Can they do it? Join us to find out on Wednesday from us all here from Japan. Good morning.